my God. Did I get the tech to work? I'm gonna die. Guys, welcome to Talk Chef. I'm one of your co-hosts, Reika.
Hi, I'm your other co-host, Jordan.
And
Hi, I'm your guest, Abby Russell.
yes, Abby
no.
is a what is your title again? You said you're a
content producer. Correct. A content
Giant
producer
Bomb.
for the website Giant Bomb. Yes.
I simply love. That's great. We are so people are literally so thrilled that the tech works. Whoa. Hey,
I'm hearing an echo.
Yes, now that echo's gone. Guys, it is through wonderful people like Giannis and Jersey that we've got this tech working today. So thank you to our fans. I cannot believe we got the tech to work. I'm truly sweating. Abby, yes, we appreciate everyone's help, and we're so excited to have Abby here. First off, Abby, we kind of like to just get a gauge. Do you like cooking? What's your relationship with it?
I hate it so much. I'm bad at it. I hate it. I find it very stressful. For me, I get hungry and I don't want to have any kind of forethought about it. I just want food right now. And I find that almost all the time, food someone else makes tastes better than food I make. I know how to make a few things and I make them fine, well enough for the most part. And then that's it. Lately, I've been making a lot of like broccoli with cheddar.
Which that feels huge to me because for many years, Abby was my boss and then Abby became my good friend. And I never knew Abby to eat a vegetable at all. Abby and I would eat, whatever you're going to say is not true. I never saw Abby eat a vegetable. And Abby
No. I was going to agree with you, but okay, carry on.
Abby
and then I'll tell my anecdote.
Exclusively would drink Coke and eat Domino's pizzas in my bed. Like,
yes. Oh, girl, you're acting like you weren't like, let's order Domino's. Come on over. We're getting Domino's.
I'm disgusting. There's nothing about me that's not disgusting. I'm not arguing that. But I do like to cook and I do like vegetables. And I would also get a pizza with vegetables and you would get an 8-meat pizza.
Oh, yeah. I don't want veggies on my pizza. Although I have enjoyed asparagus on pizza. So the vegetables I like and know how to cook, because they all are basically cooked in the same way. You throw them in the oven, put some oil on it, you're done. Brussels sprouts, broccoli, that's a new one, and asparagus, and then also green beans. I like them canned.
So you like a green vegetable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also like spinach, but not cooked. Anyway, but Jordan, do you remember Jordan was my intern for a while at the Magnet Theater? Very fun because I was a house manager. Anyway, as house manager, I would make the unpaid interns go get me lunch every day. And my favorite thing to do was to get Taco Bell because it was like right next to the Magnet. And then for the first year I worked at the Magnet, I had Taco Bell because it would be like, oh, I'd work like once a week, maybe twice a week. And it was like, oh, fun, Taco Bell. I'll get Taco Bell. I was also really broke. So I was like, I'll get Taco Bell every shift. And I started working like 5 days a week. And then I just committed to it for like a full year of eating Taco Bell. Anyway, I thought that's what you're going to bring up when you brought up the Domino's.
No, I totally forgot about that. But that is true. You really went hard on Taco Bell, which that's what I had for dinner, because I was thinking of, Reika posed this question of what was the most disgusting looking thing that like we like to eat. And it made me think about the fact that when I was growing up, the hospital my mom worked at was next to a Taco Bell KFC combo.
Classic.
So growing up, I would get an enchilada, which they don't have anymore, but is like a burrito covered with red sauce and cheese. And I would get it with beans instead. And then I would top it with a thing of KFC mashed potatoes and gravy.
Wow. That sounds
very
good.
Ugly. I mean, delicious, but very ugly.
Yes, I will say every kind of new invention in a KFC commercial, I'm positive tastes really good, looks gross. Too much beige on top of beige, so to speak.
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
Oh, Vestal would like you to stop speaking, Jordan.
I can't. I'm the co-host of the show and I have to speak my truth. I do want to say, though, that we are here today to raise money for the Longevity Fund, which is a really, really, really cool thing. It's part of Welcome to Chinatown, and they are raising money to give small Chinese businesses in Chinatown in New York grants so they can continue working because they've had such a hard time during COVID. So feel free to donate to that anytime. It's going to be open for the next 24 hours in my Venmo, and then I'll post a receipt tomorrow. It is an awesome organization. They also sell really cool merch. Both it's like Chinatown merch and then also merch for specific restaurants. I got a Namwa Tea Parlor shirt for anyone that lives in New York, likes Namwa Tea Parlor. It's really cool.
A lot of my favorite Chinatown shops, and this is a bummer, don't have merch because I'm a huge fan of Taipan Bakery in Chinatown. Oh my God, if you want an egg custard or a coconut cream bun, you simply must go to Taipan. There's lots of like veggie dumpling places. Simply, let's give some money to Chinatown in New York. That is where the best freaking food is at.
Yeah. And honestly, Chinatown, wherever you live.
Yes.
You know, we're in LA. Also, Chinese restaurants that aren't in Chinatown, we love too. So order Chinese food.
Order Chinese food. We demand you. If your family is like, why the hell did you order so much Chinese food today? We told you to.
Yeah. Have them text me.
Text Jordan at Venmo and make the text a number thing. She'll get it.
Exactly.
So let's dive in, shall we? With our traditional way we like to start every episode, Abby, is the way that Top Chef starts an episode, which is with a quick fire.
Whoa. So, okay, cool.
Abby, we are going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Okay, I literally just watched the episode, so hopefully I'll get all the answers right.
And let me tell you, they're not quiz questions. They're actually personal questions. So I do hope you get the answers right.
Okay, even more intimidating.
Yeah.
That's why we did it that way.
Yes. So I'm going to say in all of Talk Chef history, nobody has been able to complete all 10 questions.
Okay.
And this is our third episode. So
I hope I get it. Third time's a charm?
Third time actually is a charm. So Jordan is going to start a 45-second timer from the moment I finish the first question. Are you ready for your quick fire, Abby?
Yes.
Okay. First question. What is your favorite food?
Brussels sprouts.
What was your favorite food as a kid?
Mac and cheese.
Okay. And what was your least favorite food as a kid?
Chicken.
Whoa. What would you cook a 10-year-old kid right now?
Buttered noodles.
What is the ugliest fish in the world?
Oh, the monkfish.
Would you rather have 8 legs or 8 arms?
8 arms.
What is your ideal color of food?
Green.
Who would you rather have defend you in a fight, an octopus or a monkfish?
Octopus.
Why?
Because they are powerful and strong, and they have a lot of legs.
What is the worst age group to serve food to?
Old.
45 seconds, hands down, knives up. Wait, hands up.
There was one more question. I think I said the questions a little slowly. So I almost want to I know this is not traditional Top Chef form. When you don't make it to the plate, we don't judge. We don't judge the plate. But can I ask Abby our last question since she got so far? Will you allow it, Jordan?
I say yes.
Yes.
Okay. I say I'll allow it.
Okay. What baby food would you still eat now?
I don't remember eating any baby food at all. So I'm going to say none of them. I don't even like
You were
applesauce.
just eating 8 meats from birth.
I'm sure I ate baby food, but I don't remember what. I haven't had baby food in a long time.
Okay. Well, we'll stew on that. I am sort of extrapolating kids to be babies because our Top Chef episode today did have kids in it. Well, thank you so much, Abby. That was a really wonderful first round. So now we're just going to dig right into the episode, right, Jordan? Yes.
Absolutely.
Just so you know, we're having a little signal connectivity lag here. So if Jordan takes like a hair longer to respond, it's not because she hates me. It might be, but it might also just be signal. Okay.
It's signal. I'm telling you.
Wow, Jordan, you got to move to a major metropolitan city. What are you doing?
Or Jordan, you can get an Ethernet cord. I have a 100-foot Ethernet cord going through my whole apartment right now.
That is a real piece of advice that you should actually be following.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Okay.
If somebody wants to cord will also accept that.
Yeah, to the longevity fund.
Yeah, that's a separate donation to me. If you just want to send me an Ethernet cord, that's different, but I will accept that.
Incredible. Okay, so we start out this episode. Brian makes some pretty sexist, gross comments, right, about Andrea?
Oh, is that the woman who got eliminated and she was doing yoga and he's like, I'd do it. But there's more like fresh meat or something.
Yes. He says something gross and it was disgusting and it immediately makes me not like him for the whole episode. And then Steven is like bragging about being a sommelier for the 300th time.
Oh my God. Steven is a nightmare. His tie knot is too big. I don't like it. I don't like Steven at all.
Yes, Abby, this is your first time seeing Top Chef, right?
I watched like the first few seasons ages and ages ago with my family growing up, like when they were airing, but I don't remember them at all. I have like vague memories of like, oh, like I think Lindsay, she was just familiar looking. I was like, oh, I've seen you before. And I remember, I think Carla, who like actually broke out and became like a real TV chef.
Autry, yes.
One of our absolute favorite Top Chef contestants of all time.
Everyone loves Carla. She was so pleasant and now is like has a career, which is fun.
She's great. So when we start this episode, I asked that because Steven is such a weenie throughout the whole series. So I'm interested when I don't like preface that to someone, they just naturally discover he's a huge weenie. And that's really satisfying. So this quickfire starts off and it's a nasty delights challenge. And they're prefacing it like, we are going to show you one of the most disgusting ingredients known to man. And it was an octopus. I found that so perplexing.
It is so crazy.
Because I'm like, is the culinary world in America really gone so exponentially beyond like a really banal palate? Because we said this aired in 2006. I'm like, people were for sure eating octopus elsewhere and in America. So I'm like, why is this so like such a crazy idea?
Didn't sushi only really get big in the States like in the last like 30 years? Like, wasn't there a time when people were like, sushi, raw fish, blah, like semi-recently? Maybe it's sort of on the back of that.
Yeah, it might be. Like, I don't know. It felt crazy, especially in 2020. Like, octopus is your freaky ingredient? What about like offal and like trash fish? Oh my God.
I thought was the most bizarre is they were talking about how bad it smelled. Everyone was like, oh yeah, the room smelled rank, full, whatever. I'm like, octopus is not like, if you know anything about fish, you know that good fish smells like nothing or smells like ocean.
Yes.
I'm like, this octopus does not smell like anything.
We're going to give you a disgusting ingredient. Totally rotted octopus.
It was so strange.
It was very weird. And people were like these chefs even were like, oh my God, I opened that thing and I was like, the fuck is this?
Yes. What I will say is it really like, I already loved Cynthia. Cynthia is like, she is really having a hard time this season. She's the woman whose dad is sick.
I also really liked her. It was also very refreshing to see someone on a reality TV show who like wasn't just like a beautiful young person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
3,000%.
Yeah.
You get the feeling that like she has worked before and like had a career and has now come on this show, which I loved. And when they're doing the judging and she's like, oh yeah, I put a cork in when I was cooking the octopus. And like nobody knows about that except the other chef. Like Katie Lee doesn't even know about it. They're like, well, why do you do that? And she's like, oh, because it tenderizes it. It's an old trick. And I'm like, that is true.
That is true and that is hot. Knowing cooking tricks is very hot. I like that.
That's true. What is like a cooking trick that you like, a hot cooking trick that you have for us?
Who, me?
Abby or me?
Abby.
Oh gosh. You should put meats in the refrigerator to keep them fresher longer.
Oh my God. That is a life hack. If I
It's a sexy tip for you.
Yeah, okay, that's a life hack. Thank you so much, Abby, for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't know that, Jordan. So you're welcome. Be sure to write that down so you don't forget.
Not big meat eaters, so any meat tips for our meat fans out there is really helpful.
Big Meat is getting a huge shout out today.
Yeah, everyone loves your 8 meats. I call her 8 meat Abby.
Yeah. Oh, octa meat. You're like an octa meat.
Ooh,
Like
thank you.
Yeah.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me.
Yeah.
So a pretty like I would say that this quickfire is like a C minus to me. I'm like, okay, chefs can go a lot of different directions, but I think presenting octopus as a really insane ingredient to cook is weird. I mean, Tiffany does point out that she says cooking octopus in half an hour is like asking someone to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in an hour.
Oh, right.
Which doesn't feel correct. I've never eaten octopus.
I know that like octopus is really tough and it takes a long time to tenderize it. I mostly know this from Jiro Dreams of Sushi, which is a great documentary that I enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a part where they talk about how like the young apprentices just like massage an octopus for like an hour every morning, and like that's what they have to do to like get it to be edibly soft.
Yeah.
What I would give to be that octopus.
Okay, everyone sound off in the comments if you like Jordan's joke.
First of all, it was funny. Second of all, it's not a joke. No one's touched me in so long because of quarantine. Anyway. Yeah, I thought this quickfire was ultimately like forgettable. If you know me, you know that I have the memory of someone who has a good memory and remember everything. And I cannot remember a single dish from this quickfire. I cannot remember who won. I have no recollections of anything whatsoever.
I agree with this. Well, I think also my issue was less that I couldn't remember each dish, and more that like for the most part they like panned through them and I'm like, there's some kind of octopus slop.
Yes.
There's some like octopus with like some like sauce and lines next to it. Here's some more like octopus soup. It's just like all the same.
I will say the season 1 doesn't do itself any favors because they had not established yet the beauty shot trope in Top Chef where they do these really nice shots of the dishes, because not only one are you making it look more like food porn, but two, you actually have time to see all the components. And like I remember dishes from like Top Chef season 9 or like whatever, you know, and it's because of that kind of framing. I did write down the names of the dishes. I will give them to you and you guys tell me which one sounds the best.
Yes.
Okay. Tiffany made octopus suko. I don't know what suko is, but it looked okay. Steven made octopus, a quintet of octopus, which
this
is
like stuff in a line, right?
Yes.
I will say, like, I thought his looked tasteful. I was like, I'm kind of on board with this. It seemed like one bite of like, you get the octopus with like the like little like raisins and then the sauce.
Raisins!
I don't know, whatever those things were. I was like, this looks all right. I could deal with this. Yeah, all right.
Okay, listen, I've never had octopus. I don't want to eat it with raisins. That sounds disgusting to me.
I don't think it was raisins, but it was like some kind of like dried fruity nutty stuff that like clearly like paired with it.
Yes.
An octopus with a raisin, whatever.
To me, such a waste to not do an octopus octet. I'm like, if you're doing 5, just do 8 or just do one thing, you dumb person. Lisa made a braised octopus that had like some sort of orange juice thyme chive sauce. Orange juice admittedly does not sound good in that sentence. It looked fine.
Yeah, I was all right with that.
Cynthia made octopus with a tarragon whiskey sauce.
That sounds bad to me, but because she knew the cork trick, I'm like, I'm eating Cynthia's.
I want to try it. And I will say, because we brought up Carla, Cynthia has a quality that I think Carla Hall has, where when Carla Hall would make a bad dish, you know, Padma would take a bite and then Carla goes, you don't got to tell me. I know it's bad. Which was so sweet. Not that she has to knock herself down a peg, but she has a sense of humor when she does poorly. She doesn't like throw a hissy fit or get really fucking aggro or mad or judgy about everyone else.
It also seems like I think this probably comes with age and just like general confidence, is not going to take it personally if like, yeah, it's not my best dish. You know, I know this, versus like, you know, somebody else who might be like, I don't cook for children. You know what I'm saying?
We will get into that. That was wild. Dave made marinated and grilled octopus with 5 spice and a white wine couscous. Interesting, because that has the most amount of seasoning and he gets dinged on seasoning. Okay.
Oh, really? That actually looked the most delicious because it was just like, oh, it's like a ricey kind of dish. I mean, it's couscous, but it just seemed like, yeah, I'd eat that. It's just like got some octopus thrown into a thing I'd already eat.
Yeah. I will say, for the people who read Jordan's tirade against me about how I don't like rice on Twitter, I do like couscous, and I especially love pearl
I do
couscous.
not like rice.
Okay, there's so much to say. I don't really like basmati rice, which is like a long grain rice in Indian food. I think I ate it way too much and I capped out. You can hit a lifetime maximum, like much like like health insurance or whatever. You can just hit a maximum and then you're not allowed to eat anymore. Harold made poached grilled octopus with lentils.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Leanne made citrus poached octopus over a saffron cake and vegetables.
That sounds good too.
That to me sounded like my favorite. Brian made, okay, I'm going to tell you what I wrote. I'm going to tell you what I remember he made. I wrote creamy octopus steam. That's not what he made. That sounds like an AI recipe. I think he made like a creamy octopus soup, I think.
I feel like I remember there being a soup and being like, yeah, that seems all right.
Creamy octopus steam sounds absolutely revolting. Candace made a spicy and sweet octopus curry.
Okay.
Right?
Sure. Yeah, I would eat it.
Here's where I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, I like you. She goes, I love Indian food. I go, hi, Candace. And then Miguel made a braised octopus in red wine. Okay, so I think we all kind of gravitated toward the same ones. Things that got a sauce, things that have something to sop up the sauce. Like, I think
ultimately I want the one that won. You know what I'm saying? Like the one that the guy was like, yeah, this is the best one.
So Tiffany won for the octopus suko, which is why she did not go home for her his poor attitude.
Right. And I do think she would have gone home. I think especially
really, even with the soft carrots.
Yeah,
I feel like they always say that when you have immunity and then you like do okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think you're right. But what I will say is I think in season 1, they were thirsty to send people with bad attitudes home.
Ooh,
I think as the show goes on, they really try to judge based off the dish. But like when they send Ken home in that first episode, he had the worst attitude and they all wanted to send him home. I think in some of the earlier seasons you like saw that.
Yeah. Oh, also just going back a little bit, where is Padma? I remember her being in it. Is she not in the first season?
She's not. Katie Lee, Billy Joel's, and I will say at every single episode we have of the first season, Katie Lee, formerly Katie Lee Joel, Billy Joel's ex-wife, who he met
she seemed
while
too
he
young.
was in college, and he was, 100 years old. They got married, and she is the host of Top Chef season 1.
And as Jersey pointed out, she did write a book about surfing and falling in love that we will yet again link in the chat.
That's amazing. Wow. I will say there was at one point during the final thing when they're like, all the judges are at like the table across from like the losing team. And they had like a shot where it had like the Tom Colicchio was that the main dude with like the two women. And I was like, wait, did she switch sides? And then I realized like, oh, they're two different women.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yes. Yeah. So that was the quickfire, which we all kind of think was like average.
What up?
And this was interesting. The elimination challenge was like the same thing. It was like cook ugly food again. But
it was for kids, which
it was
twist,
for kids,
I guess.
So they basically the elimination challenge was to cook monkfish. You have to design a meal around monkfish for 40 kids between the ages of 8 and 12. What do we think?
I think it's a good challenge. I like it. I will also say that monkfish is one of my favorite foods. I love monkfish.
What does it taste like?
They call it the poor man's lobster because it has a very similar taste and texture to lobster, but it is a lot cheaper.
Right.
And it's pretty sustainable depending on where you are. And it's really, really delicious. I love it. So I was excited to see that as an ingredient. And I think cooking for kids is good. I think, listen, I am not the biggest, I don't have kids, probably won't have kids, but I don't think they're dumb. I think they're good judges of things. And I think kids have taste. And I think it was
I think it's an interesting challenge. Like, who cares?
Yeah. I don't get it.
I think people think kids have dumb taste because, like, yes, if you put a plate of chicken nuggets in front of a kid, they'll be like, cool. But that's not to say they wouldn't think something else is cool. It's also sort of ignoring. Like, I remember there's a later season in an episode where the guy from New Zealand, Mark, makes for a kid challenge, he makes them curry. And everyone's comment, including Padma, right through my heart, is like, what kid wants to eat curry? I'm like, listen, I ate a lot of curry growing up. And it's not that I was like, wow, Indian food is incredible. I thought it was too spicy and I had to take tissues to dinner. But I wasn't like, ew, fuck this, or whatever. I could eat it. Like, so I find that a little annoying and sort of Western centric that like kids only like pizza and chicken fingers or whatever.
I also will say I was a very picky eater as a child. I still kind of am. I've grown out of it a lot, but if I was a kid and they told me it was monkfish and they show me that monkfish, I don't give a shit what it looks like when it's on the plate. I would be like, I ain't eating this.
So, okay.
Really?
Yeah, I would be like, mm-mm. I mean, I didn't eat chicken nuggets.
What do we think of them? Because I almost was like, Katie, I don't think you should do that. I think it's like not fair almost to show them the thing.
I thought it was good.
But afterward, I thought it was good. In the beginning,
I like it because how is it hard? Monkfish tastes delicious and like looks like nothing. Someone pointed out in the comments that the fillets don't look weird. So it's like nothing about it would be weird if she didn't show them the monkfish.
Yes, true. But I think my thing is like the psychology of a kid, at least for me, was like just me being like, I'm not going to eat it because it's icky and weird. You know what I mean? Yes. And like when people are like, you got to eat this, that would just make me dig in my heels harder.
By the way, if you don't know what a monkfish is, I would Google it. It's a very odd looking fish. I think it looks pretty scary if you are not is familiar with different types of fish than like tuna and salmon. But yes, the fillets don't look like anything. You can also eat monkfish cheeks, right?
Oh, interesting. I also feel like most fish out of the water are going to look fucked up. And also, if a fish has any kind of teeth, like game over, right? Like that thing is never going to be like, this thing looks cool, Okay,
would you rather a fish had like little pointy teeth like the monkfish does that are all separated, or like human teeth that are all like this?
Pointy separated. No question.
Okay, sound up in the comments if you would like a fish that have this kind of teeth.
No. Who would want human teeth on a fish? That's so upsetting. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
I think the most cruel thing about showing the fish is I think it is not weird. I think I have a lot of convoluted thoughts about this, but I think it is the most upsetting to show a kid a thing that looks like a living thing and be like, you're about to eat this.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think it's wrong, but I think that as a child, that would have been the most jarring part to me.
Yeah.
Sure. I think for me, personally, I mean, like, I don't have kids. I don't really know kids that well, but like, I think it's good for everyone to have an understanding of like where meat comes from and like where the food you eat that comes from a living creature that's not a plant comes from, because I think it's important to have that knowledge to know what you're doing and to not like, and to appreciate kind of what it takes to have that food,
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there is an ultimate like good lesson to be learned here for like kids eating and stuff, that like not everything that like I ultimately agreed with Katie's decision, and to Jordan's point, it makes sense to show it, otherwise it's not really a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we get into their planning phase, right? They're split into 2 teams. Yes.
It's just like these people have never met or seen a child before in their life. And people are just saying things where it's like, Candace says, someone recommends a puree, which is neither here nor there. And Candace says, kids don't even know what a puree is. I'm like, you realize that kids spend the first, 4 years of their life only eating puree?
Jordan, I'll say this is what she said that in response to. Stephen pitched cantaloupe soup and then went, oh, sorry, no, honeydew.
I know. It was like ick. All of Steven's suggestions were terrible. And then like that one lady brought like those fun like stencils, what are they called? Cookie cutters.
A cookie cutter or like mold. Yes.
That were like shaped like fun shapes. And he was like, oh, we're chefs. I would never. And it's like, well, why? That's so fun. Who cares?
if you can believe, Steven is, as he points out, less than 1 year older than Candace, which is wild.
Yeah, Steven hates women more than anyone I've ever met in real life, I would say. Steven hates women so much. And I am sometimes like hesitant to say things about contestants because I'm like, who knows if they'll watch this, you know?
Are you worried Steven's gonna be like, I hope someone's talking about that show I did 20 years ago?
He watches it and then he finds me on Instagram and then he DMs me and it's like, I'll kill you, you know, whatever. Like, I'm very paranoid in general. So I'm like, you know, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I will say that, and I hope and assume he's changed, but Steven hates women more than anyone in the entire world in this season. He hates everyone. He hates every woman.
Yeah.
I have only seen this one episode this season, so I cannot speak to that. He, to me, just seemed unpleasant in general.
Sure.
So I don't know.
He's very much someone who believes not compromising is a strength of like your vision rather than a weakness of a stubborn and unconfident chef.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Jordan said, the pitching phase of this is like all like as if like a kid is an alien. Do they eat rocks? I don't know.
Yeah.
And like Lisa having to be like, I have 2 human kids. And if I could give some suggestions, please, was very funny to be like, I'm an expert because I've met kids before. Let me see. Oh, Steven, I would like to point out this quote. Steven says to support Jordan's point that he hates women. When Steven and Candace are on the same team, he said, you know, he's like, yeah, our team is this person. The person I'm worried about is Candace. It's hard to go down to her level, and it's not possible to bring her up to my level.
Yeah. And then also at one point he's talking about the team, which Lisa is also on the team, and Lisa is a good cook and a parent to children.
I know. All of her suggestions were like, yeah, she seems to nail it. Listen to her.
Yeah.
I love her. She is so underrated this season. And I wish she was more famous now if that's what she wants.
Yeah.
But Steven is like, oh yeah, well, it's a good thing like Miguel and I are on this team because we're good at cooking. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, truly. Absolutely wild. Yes. Okay. So I will say I keep thinking his name is Chris. His name is Brian. Brian is pitching some ideas and he's like, what about a baked mac and cheese and a potato? And Dave says, that's too much for kids. And while I do not like Brian, I'm like, I don't think that's too much for kids. I think a kid would probably really like that.
Yeah, whatever. It's like baked mac and cheese in any context. Like, sure, put it in a potato. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, put some bacon on there. Like, kids love mac and cheese.
Yeah, I thought the comment would be like, that's not really that healthy, or like, we're not showcasing the monkfish, but it was like, kids won't like 2 delicious things.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting to me. I also felt like it was like, looking at the kids, it was like a pretty diverse group of kids who seem like they come from all different backgrounds. I'm like, you know that it's like, I mean, as you said earlier, Reiko, like so like Western and kind of like white centric to be like kids only eat like, I don't know, like bread with butter on it. It's so crazy.
Yes.
To assume that like people don't eat other things in their homes.
Yes. That there are other like sort of low maintenance foods, like, because I get that like, oh, a fucking buttered toast or cheese sandwich is like low maintenance, but there's like an equivalent of that, like a rice and beans, whatever. I don't know.
I also just ate what my parents ate. I mean, I don't think I'm a good barometer because I'm not a picky eater and never have been. And like when I was little, I would eat like really hot, spicy food, and then people would be like, "Don't let her eat that." And my parents were like, "It's fine."
Yeah.
I was
and look how you turned out.
I know, and I'm sick. I told you, I'm gross. I'm gross. I told you I put KFC mashed potatoes on a burrito. I don't remember what point I was making. I am gross though.
I think the point you were making.
I think maybe that was the point.
Yeah. Anyway, I do love, just not to sidetrack too much, but that this whole podcast, I've been able to see the inside of your thigh based on how you're lying.
Okay, Okay, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
People tune in for that. Well, what am I supposed to do? Not show it to you?
I just love this like loungy attitude this whole podcast.
Hey, listen, I'm not a professional podcaster or anything like that. I could be. If someone wants to send me an Ethernet cord, if someone wants to send me a ring light, if someone wants to send me a chair, okay? I don't have those things.
Yeah, Jordan is in bed, by the way.
I'm in bed. I have one bed in my apartment. I have to put my leg up to hold myself steady so I don't roll off my bed. I'm doing my best.
I like it. I support it. I just
great.
think it's fun and I wanted to point it out.
I think this is how we watch Top Chef. You watch, relax, trying to unwind, to get inspired maybe.
Yes.
So I dig it. Here, I love Lisa, but here are a couple of things I want to point out that she said.
Oh no.
In her group, she's like, okay, there's this thing. It's called ants on a stick. And I was like, Lisa, we know what that is. Like, you don't have to pitch it like it's a new idea. And then when they end up going shopping, she goes, I do this thing. It's called speed shopping. I was like, Lisa.
I love that. This is my favorite person on this season, I think.
I know, she's cool. I like her.
Yeah. So the menus. Oh, by the way, very big point in the episode. Cynthia ends up leaving because her father, his condition gets worse. I was so glad she left. I'm like, please don't stay. I wish they could just give her like a slot on the next season or something.
Yeah.
I was very, very sad. And you could see, if you didn't already think Steven was a fucking asshole, he's like not even like giving her any condolences. Everyone else is like hugging her and crying.
Like clearly upset.
And he's just like, we're down one person, but I'm confident. We're like, hey, Steven, get the stick out of your asshole.
Yeah, he's like, it's a weakness to have a dying father and only women have.
Yeah, only women have dying fathers. My father lives forever.
But that brings us to Andrea's back.
Yes.
Which ultimately I don't care about that at all.
I'm very neutral on Andrea. She did do my big vegetarian vegan faux pas of serving a plate of unseasoned lentils on top of a plate of unseasoned other vegetables, which is to me the exact way to get someone to not eat any vegetables. So I am upset at her for that, but yeah, I'm fine with her being back. So Andrea comes back, and then the two teams, blue team and red team, are planning their menus. The blue team is doing monkfish nuggets, cheesy tater tots, and maple glazed carrots.
That all sounds good to me.
That sounds fine to me. I will say that Brian called them candied carrots, and for whatever reason, I mean, wording really just matters to me. Even though I literally made maple sticky tahini glazed carrots last night, a glazed carrot sounds so 70s to me and like unappealing. It sounds like something you would get in a school cafeteria that you wouldn't eat. To me, even and candied carrots has the same thing. To even just say like, it's like the way that dish, sticky maple tahini. There's better words to describe it, in my opinion. I don't know if anyone else has thoughts.
Well, my thoughts was it looked like and sounded like, like cafeteria food, like cooked carrots. I think it's uninteresting. Yes. Not only did he not do it well, but I'm also like, I think there's a more interesting thing. I don't think this is that appealing to kids. Yes. Like for me, I would much rather like, just give me a raw carrot and like some ranch to dip it in, like a dip. Yeah. Yes. Like that is more interesting to me. And I think for me as a child than like cooked carrots would be.
Yes, I agree. The red team makes monkfish corn dogs, which I thought was a really cool idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Potato chips, fruit skewers, and a yogurt dipping sauce. And Tom goes, do kids like yogurt? And Candace goes, I think kids like yogurt. It's pink and blue.
Did you kids like yogurt? What are we even talking about? I thought the craziest part of this whole episode was that it appeared that the judges did not taste this food.
I assumed they tasted it off camera. Like I was like they had to. I mean, granted, they didn't talk about it at all.
That's very weird. They probably did, but that is very weird, Jordan. I didn't even notice that.
Well, something that I did notice was like the kids' vote mattered for who was like up for elimination. Yes. But like they really didn't talk about the food all that much, aside from them being like, well, the carrots were overcooked, but it was mostly like your attitude's bad, Tiffany. I keep wanting to call her Lindsay. Tiffany, like, like I feel like it was more like people's attitudes and people like throwing each other on the bus that was the focus, and the food was anyway in that final like debate.
And that's like a classic sort of Bravo trope that I think they have gotten away from in Top Chef. After season 3, I would say, I think they focus a lot less on drama and like weird bullshit. Actually, I'll say season 5, because season 5 is the Hosea season. Hosea and Leah season, I mean. So whatever. But
I just thought that was so bizarre because Tom mentions that he did taste, because I was like, okay, well, maybe they tasted stuff off screen, like you mentioned, Abby. But then Tom is like, well, I did try one of the carrots, which kind of to me made it sound like he hadn't tried the other stuff.
Yeah.
He had only tried the carrot. And I would like, as you were saying, I want to hear what the chefs thought about it, because I think the kids are a great judge, and I love that they factored in the kids' opinion and that we got to hear from the kids, and that's what really mattered. I thought that was good and important. But at the same time, I truly was like, what does this food taste like? And even when they asked the kids were like, I like both.
Yeah.
So kind of like, okay.
Yeah. And there was also that whole thing about like the teams basically just being like, vote for us, we're fun. And I do think like that probably went pretty far.
Okay, so I agree, Abby. And I was like, where do I fall on that? I was like, well, ultimately, as Top Chef emphasizes, a dining experience is a combination of food and service. You might come for the food, but you return for the service and the food again.
Wow, that is so deep. Well said.
So I would say, you know, I know these are just kids and they have no like purchasing power, right? But if they, you know, if the Top Chefs are cooking a fun meal and, you know, those kids go home and are like, wow, we had an incredible meal from whatever, Chef Tiffany. Not to say that they would all hire them, but then it's just like a nice experience. It doesn't hurt you to make it fun for them. And I guess you can think it's manipulative, but maybe that would be the case to me if only the kids' votes matter and they got to like eliminate a chef.
Yeah, it felt there was a lot of talk of like pandering and things like that. And I'm like, these are children in like a public school in whatever city we're in. Like, I don't know. It's like, just let them have a nice thing.
Yeah.
Like, trying to like have fun with them. And I think people were like, it's not like anyone was like, you better vote for me. I'll give you $60.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They were just like, we love corn dog or whatever the thing was. Like,
I wish that's exactly what it was.
We love corn dog.
The kids are like, yeah, finally! Don't you get it?
And like, you know, even my guy Harold, who I love, stands back there and he's like, well, the thing is, somebody's going home for this or whatever. And I'm like, Harold, get out there and shout and have fun, because I know you love fun. And
I know you love fun, Harold. We know you wear nice sweaters. We know you love big blazers. You love
Which
fun.
one's Harold? Is he the one who voted himself off?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the one who voted himself.
He's a man of honor. We love Harold.
Very controversial. We love Harold's, but I have to say, if we're sneaking our way to the elimination, which I feel as we are, I didn't buy Harold's I'd send myself home, because I don't think Harold would have sent himself home, and I don't think Harold, but I think it's because I don't think he should have gone home either.
I didn't buy it either, but I thought it was a nice gesture to not have to vote for someone else. So I wasn't like fake. I was just like, you don't want to have to weigh in on this like personal drama. So you're doing a very Harold thing, a sort of grown man thing.
That's I will say, as someone who has only watched this episode this season, at least in current memory, Harold made no impression on me whatsoever. Not even his
he was not
chivalry
in this episode.
Yeah.
Yes, very much focused in this episode. But I will say I liked Leanne's method more. Leanne was just like, I don't know, I wouldn't send anyone home. And I think this is like such a big Top Chef problem we run into. And if you continue to watch the show, we say this time and time again, they make us do a group, us as if I'm part of this, they make them do a group challenge and then are like, well, this isn't about a group, this is about individuals. And I'm like, then why are we doing a group challenge? Like, we have to decide.
And then they find their like isms for everything. Like, if no one emerges as a leader, they're like, you're chefs, you have to emerge as a leader. And then if like one person emerges as a leader, they're like, why did you take the rap for this? If you didn't believe, you know, whatever. They're always going to be up their ass about something.
Yes, absolutely.
Just a little tiny snippet I wanted to hop back to. I do think no matter what your beliefs on entertaining the kids, instead of focusing on the food are, you don't send Steven to talk to the kids. I could not fathom why Steven was talking to any of the kids. I'm like,
know.
Oh my
You'd be like,
God.
this is the word for it in French. Like, oh my God, dude.
what is chef? What is chef but chief in French is what Gail said to it.
So wild. Yeah, he's like leaning down telling them about wine.
Yeah.
This pairs really well with the Virginia Red.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're dipping into the elimination now, and this is a very like climactic elimination in a sense of like you really get a lot of philosophy about Tom's view on food out here. They didn't really put any fanfare into the winning team. I didn't even remember if there was an individual winner. I don't think there was, but they really get up Tiffany's ass. Like, you have a really piss poor attitude about like serving kids. Cause basically she's like, they're 10-year-old pals, who gives a fuck? That's not my job. My job is to cook. I'm not here to be like a clown, basically. And it reminded me of parallels in like comedy and performance of people being like, I'm not going to sell out. I'm never going to do a gig that I don't think is funny. And it's like, if I heard a comedian say that, I'd be like, that's a really lofty goal. That's so unrealistic. You're going to have to do
I do almost anything for $30. Like, truly, like, at this point in my career, I would do anything. I've auditioned for such degrading things. Recently, I got an audition. Well, first of all, let me just say that every role I audition for literally is like, we are looking for women that are ugly. Like, every single role I audition for, they're like, the most recent one I got said, we are looking for people who are as far away from beautiful as possible. Yes. That was the wording of the call. I'm like, yes, absolutely, I will do it. I will be as ugly as you want me to be. I don't care. Give me money.
Yes. Jordan, similarly, I get things for like ugly friend that has nothing going on. Yeah, lots of coded language in there. Yeah, it's bad. So I agree. I think in any profession, you're never gonna only do jobs that you like.
Yes.
Like, it seems so crazy to me. It feels like a very 21-year-old way of thinking of like,
yeah,
when I get into this career, I'll never be like those other chefs who had to cook something they didn't believe in.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm
an auteur.
Yeah.
Like, make like they aren't asking her to make like shitty food. They're asking her to make food for kids. Like, make it as high quality as you want. Just make it taste good, make it taste good, make it fun. Like, you can find a fun way to cook to your like high caliber. I also really appreciate that they talked about like even the kids knew this was overcooked. Like, they talked about how like they're kids, but like they know what's good food and what's not.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I also think, thinking back to episode 1, I thought it was really funny because in episode 1, Tiffany either wins or makes it into the top 3 because she makes a lasagna inside of a pumpkin, inside of like a tiny pumpkin that is like so cute and so fun. And so for her to be like, I'm not dumbing down my food, I'm like, just make that same little pumpkin lasagna.
No, that pumpkin lasagna is too smart. That pumpkin went to college and these kids are stupid.
Yeah. So, I'm like, I don't understand why everybody hates kids so much.
Yes.
I mean, I don't love kids, but that's fine.
I'm not like #1 kid fan, but I'm like, if I was doing a kid challenge, I think there are ways to be like, I like cooking this type of food. Like, Indian food is not very palatable to some kids. It's too spicy, it's too this, it's too that to some kids. And that's fine. I would just like tweak it so that it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can make it fun.
It almost, Jordan, reminded me of an infamous conversation we always have of just like cooking for kids is like the less common version of the cook a dessert or bake a dessert challenge on Top Chef, where they're just like, I can't fucking do that. I'm not a scientist, or like, I can't.
I would say there's 3 things on Top Chef that nothing confuses the contestants more than this: cooking for children, making a dessert, or cooking a vegetarian dish. It is so crazy because the contestants act like they have never seen or heard of any of these things before. So it's like, you're going on Top Chef. You know that this is a cooking competition. You'll probably have to cook a dessert. And then they're like, make a dessert. And all the chefs are like, I've never cooked a dessert. I know eat dessert. What time is it? Like, they just lose their brain. It's so wild.
Because, okay, I joked to Jordan earlier today. There's always, and we're getting a little off topic, but there's always a person on Top Chef each season that's like, yeah, I'm a pork guy. And their whole thing is pork, and they have a tattoo of a pig with all the cross sections on their stomach.
I love it so much.
And they literally fuck up cooking pork 7 episodes in a row, and then they finally do it, and then it's really good. And then they always add bacon to everything, and they're like, yeah, bacon makes everything better. I have a shirt that says, bacon is my wife and I eat vegetarians for breakfast or whatever. And they make a big personality of eating meat. Can you imagine if I went on a cooking show and made my whole personality like, yeah, I'm a corn girl. I freaking love corn. Yeah, I'm gonna tattoo corn on my stomach. I love corn. I fucking cook the best corn around. God, another corn challenge. I hope I don't screw up, or the big boys at my corn palace are gonna be mad. It's just so crazy.
God. I would watch that so fast. That sounds amazing.
It's just so like, there is this aggro, entitled and myopic viewpoint that is tied into meat sometimes on the show that is so like, well, I remember Grayson in the vegan pop-up challenge in season 13. She they have to cook a vegan meal and she's like, God put animals on this earth to eat. It's like, and plants, I guess, too. What is happening?
It's just like they become people who like don't know how to be chefs. It's so strange.
It's really demented. So basically, at the end of the day, Brian got eliminated. He did redeem himself. He had like a sweet sort of relationship with this challenge where he was part of like the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Yeah.
And he really liked it. When in the beginning, he literally was like, sad to see Andrea go, but there's more nice ass in the house.
I know.
Wow. Humans really do contain multitude.
Also, for me, to be fully honest, maybe because I hadn't seen the other episodes, like his line about like the nice ass and Andrea, I feel like that was me. I feel like I could see the hands of the producers like in that talking head. Like that felt a little more manufactured than some of the other moments.
Copy that. That makes sense. And I wouldn't put it past a season 1 to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is really the episode. A little bit of we're getting a nice, like basically I've been talking about the other episodes and like, oh, how did the quick fires compare? I'm like, this to me feels like the most normal of the 3 we've watched. I do think the challenges were a little samey and not quite like, I don't know. I can't speak to the culinary world in 2006 and if monkfish and octopus were really, truly so insane to cook. But they didn't feel like super exciting challenges, but this was the most normal. What did you think about the episode?
I thought that it was kind of boring. I thought them hating kids so much was like weird. And it just feels like I can't watch Steven be featured too much. It just is so upsetting to watch because it's like, yeah, he's like a 24-year-old dude who wears like a tuxedo into a kitchen to talk about wine. It's like all my least favorite things hodgepodge together.
A tuxedo is so funny.
What?
Why? And also, why is his tie not so big?
Yeah.
Right? Did you guys notice that? It was like the size of his face.
I haven't noticed, but I have to check it again. It's like as soon as he starts talking, I look away from the screen because it's too bothersome to me, but I will have to check it out because I'm sure it's true.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of the whole episode was in the end when Leanne was being interviewed and Leanne was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't think any of us should have gone home. If I could have sent someone home, I would have sent home Steven from the other team. And I was like, oh, thanks, Leanne. I love
that. And you know it's for being annoying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I can't even imagine how annoying he is in the house. Like, I'm just imagining the rest of the contestants are trying to, like, make breakfast or whatever. And Steven's like, oh, well.
You know what wine would pair well with your breakfast?
Yeah. Or, like, this is, a beurre blanc means, white butter. And everyone's just like, shut up. Like, I can't even imagine having to live with him.
Yeah. How much would I have to pay you to be Steven's like roommate? And you guys shared not a bed, but a bedroom, like dorm style.
We shared a bedroom?
Yes.
I would need free housing.
That's it? So you would basically just do it for free? Like she's offering like a sky's the limit cap and you're just going to be like, I don't know, just like maybe like 15% off rent. like maybe don't charge me for the internet, I guess.
Yeah, I'll pay utilities.
Hey, listen, I just told you that I let people call me ugly for jobs that I don't even book, okay? So, yeah, if you were like, you can have free rent, but like live in it. Because listen, I'll also say this, I'm annoying too. I know that. So it'd be a real give and take. I'm kind, so I think that's the difference.
This is a famous thing about Jordan. So she's very like, if you are annoying, that's okay. But if you are mean, that's not good.
Yes.
Now, Steven, we're talking about intersectionality, is both.
Yeah, and this is true.
The intersection that nobody talks about, someone who is both annoying and very mean.
I don't like that. And last week we had Elizabeth Faulkner, who was not mean, but she was annoying. No, she was not annoying. She was mean, and she was homosexual. And that was the intersectionality we were talking about last week.
Each episode
focuses on a different type of intersectionality. And that, Elizabeth Faulkner, I would also live with Elizabeth Faulkner for free, So, mean and gay is hot, and then mean and annoying is bad.
Yeah, I think I agree with that generally.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a very low tolerance for mean. If someone's mean to me, it makes me really upset.
Yes.
Or hurts my soul.
Abby, how much would it take you to live with Steven?
I have only seen one episode. He was so unpleasant. How long are we talking for? I mean, I just want to start high and see if that's enough. Like if I say $1 million a month, can I just be like,
no, I can't give you that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look at my bank account. Okay. Okay. No, here's what I can do. I can give you $50 a month.
No.
Okay. What about 100?
No.
Wait, is housing free though?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it is.
Jordan,
I feel like I want a lot of money to share a room with literally anyone. You know what I mean? Let alone the most annoying man in the whole wide world.
Yeah. Jordan, you made your deal. You don't get to actually alter that or anything.
I think I need thousands a month. I guess I would say $5,000 a month. Sure.
Okay. $5,000 a month, but he wakes up at 5 in the morning.
Does he leave the room?
No.
Oh, of course not.
He actually never leaves the room.
Oh, God.
He works from home.
It's like me in college.
He works from home and he switches out your mini fridge with a wine cooler.
I'd make it work.
You'd make it work, okay, for $5K, and then Jordan.
No, for $5K, if he's waking up at 4 every day, I would struggle.
Okay, and Jordan's just taking the free dorm, so okay, that's fine. I also wanted to take this moment to just go over some of the answers from fans that we got about one of the central questions of this episode, which is, what is a food that looks gross to people but tastes good to you? So I wanted to just shout out some of our viewers. So we've got Netta, who I love. My mom's comfort food is just straight up chicken hearts and white rice.
What do chicken hearts look like? I don't know if I've ever had one.
They're pretty small, right?
I think so. I've seen it on TV. I don't know if they're tough. Has anyone had chicken hearts? Sound off in the chat if you've had chicken hearts.
I've
had chicken hearts, and they were not particularly tough, and they were good. I've never had them with white rice, but
does it taste like chicken?
It's like a little, I would say, kind of like earth. What I had personally was, I would say, like earthier.
Interesting, like a little gamey.
Yeah,
I love earth. I love a beet. You know me, Jordan. There's some days I eat beets 3 different ways, 3 different meals. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
That's
we've got Ryan Kober, who says French onion dip. It's a beige nightmare, but you can down a
French onion dip is widely beloved.
Incredible.
Ugly.
Branch out, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I think it doesn't look like the prettiest, but damn, it's good. I mean, okay. We've got Roulpulse. I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, from Some Kind of Nerd at Tarmduffen. Yeah. Oh, you're saying it's a gelatin monstrosity. Where do you all stand on gelatin?
I don't like Jell-O in general.
I don't like things that are gelatinous. It's not really a flavor that jives with me.
The texture of gelatin is pretty bad for me. I'm willing to trust you, but it's pretty bad for me.
I do like marshmallows though, which I guess adjacent.
Jordan and I literally yesterday had a text message exchange about if we liked marshmallows or not.
The texture is incredible.
A peek into the world.
Yeah. Of Rick and I's friendship.
You like marshmallows?
Wow. Oh
yeah, Rick has not been into them.
You're not either, right?
Well, so this is the thing, it's hard.
Oh my God, Jordan is all about being like, Rika hates this. And then I go, don't you? And she's like, ah.
Okay. Listen, I don't hate marshmallows. I like marshmallows, but it is hard because, like I said, like I've had chicken heart, I've had meat before, but I am not a meat eater in general. So I buy vegan marshmallows, which now are available at Trader Joe's, I think seasonally, but for most of my life, my parents don't eat meat. So I grew up not eating meat. So I couldn't have marshmallows because it wasn't a thing to have them without gelatin. Yeah. But a vegan marshmallow, I like.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Roasted up. We got a few more. We got raw sea urchin from Pure 5000. That sounds good.
I've never had it, but I want to.
Yeah. Canned sardines and canned fish. I mean, so many recipes ask for like anchovy and stuff. I trust it. I use miso as my like little vegan substitute. Frito pie.
Miso made of anchovies?
Miso's not, but like it's got like a funky umami taste.
Oh, I love miso.
Me too. And I don't know what anchovies taste like. So for me, I'm like, wow, this is great. It very well could taste like ass to someone who's like, this would taste better with anchovies. A Frito pie, famously
one of my favorite foods.
Yes.
For anybody that doesn't know, a Frito pie is Fritos topped with some kind of chili, topped with cheese that then melts. And then if you're me, you top it with pickled jalapenos, cilantro, and diced onion. And
and that
I think I always thought Frito pie, maybe I'm confusing with like taco in a bag. I don't know. There was like something my cousins would always get at like the pool, but it would be more of like taco stuff rather than chili of like, here's taco meat, here's salsa, here's cheese, here's like lettuce. Mix it all up.
Same concept. I would say taco in a bag, I think maybe is more Midwestern.
Yes, they're from Ohio.
I think Frito pie is more Southern. That could be wrong, so I'm sorry to anyone, but I'm
everyone at Jordan if she's wrong. And I wanted to say a Frito pie suggestion came from No Soul, No Land. These are all really great answers. I love these. And thank you for participating in our little quiz.
Yeah, Abby, what's yours?
So mine, I think I've said this on another podcast before, but I'm going to talk about it again. My family, the thing we enjoy eating is we call it Grammys, which we take graham crackers, we break them into small bits, pour milk over them, and then mush them up with the back of your spoon. And then it creates the consistency of like an oatmeal. And then you eat it like slop.
Ooh, I do like slop. I'll say that. Oink, oink. I like some slop.
Wow, that's so interesting. I mean, I'm sure it tastes good, but I never even would think.
I don't know how it started or why we do it, but we do it and I still eat it sometimes.
That's very sweet. And it's called Grammys?
We call it Grammys or sometimes Grammys and milk. It's very literal.
Grammys and milk.
That's very sweet. I like that. And Abby, I have one final, I would say, really important question is I need to know for this monkfish challenge for these kids what you would have made, because every week what we do is we take the winning dish up against your dish and we post it on our Instagram poll and see who wins.
For kids, monkfish, I would make fish sticks with a yummy sauce. Okay. And then I would make a side of like sweet potato French fries with maybe another kind of yummy sauce. I don't know. And then Brussels sprouts. And these kids are just going to have to enjoy Brussels sprouts because I like them. And it seems like they pair well.
I think fish stick is an incredible idea. I don't know the consistency of monkfish. And
I have no idea. It's simple. It's fried, delicious. It's easy to, you know what it is, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an awesome idea.
Thank you.
That sounds so good. Well, before we wrap things up, I do just want to plug the Longevity Fund one last time. I'll be taking donations until 8:30 p.m. tomorrow, and then I'll post the receipt on our Instagram. All the money goes to them. It is a really great organization. Get yourself some merch. Also, follow Talk Chef on Instagram. We have all kind of fun updates. We do stuff about the chef test-ins. We do polls. We have updates about the shows, about our guests. Also, follow Abby, follow me, follow Reka. Call someone and tell them that you love them. Yes,
and make some good freaking food this week. Abby, is there any food you're gonna eat or make this week that you're like excited for?
No.
Oh yeah.
She's having slop all week.
Yeah, Grammys.
Grammys and milk all week. Grammys and milk sounds like, I don't know, like a vodkas and latkes party. Like watch the Grammys and drink a ton of milk kind of thing, like some sort of rich New York party type thing you'd go to.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Grammys and
at the
milk.
Grammys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
me and my friends me and my 8 richest friends get together, watch the Grammys and drink gigantic gallons of milk.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Abby, for being on the show.
And guess
Thank
what?
you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Abby, you are top chef.
Finally! Wow. And I don't know how to cut vegetables properly, and yet still here I am.
Yes. You didn't have to master French cooking techniques.
Yay.
Yes.
Great.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you the same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next week with a new guest and a new episode and a new charity.
Exactly. And again, donate to the Longevity Fund. Jordan's Venmo is in the details. It's at Jordan MYR1CK. Follow Abby and Talk Chef on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye. Eat something good this week.
Curfews.
Okay.